Life is short, and if we're not careful, we can spend years stuck in the same routines, making the same old excuses time and time again, and quite literally just letting time slip through our fingers. But what if asking yourself a few uncomfortable questions could change everything? In this video, I'm going to challenge you with 10 powerful questions. Questions that can be hard to face, but could unlock the life you truly want to live. So are you ready to get real with yourself? Okay, so let's dive in. Number one, if the next year looked exactly like the last 2 weeks, would you be proud? If you're not satisfied with the way that you've spent the last 14 days, can you imagine spending the next 365 days in the same way? If not, then you need to change. Or else you're going to wake up a year from now feeling guilty, wishing that you could quite simply just rewind the previous 365 days. Use that pain to spark a new approach. Really visualize it. Same routines, same level of productivity, same relationships, same everything. Does that vision excite you, or does it fill you with dread? Are you moving towards your goals, or are you just simply existing? If the answer is the latter, now there you go. You have a powerful motivator to change. So don't just acknowledge it. Feel the discomfort, if you can, of a year just pissed away, wasted. Steve Jobs once said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So if you're not loving your current trajectory, it's time for a change. So identify one small change that you can make today that will shift your current trajectory. It doesn't have to be massive, but it does need to be a tangible step in the right direction. So for example, instead of scrolling on your device for half an hour, dedicate a new skill that you can learn in that time instead, every single day. Number two, what would be the cost of staying exactly where you are right now? Complacency comes with a steep price tag. Missed opportunities, regrets, and the slow decay of your potential. If you think standing still is harmless, you're fooling yourself. Your dreams don't wait around while you decide whether or not to act. Every moment of inaction is a silent agreement you make with yourself to remain average. And who wants to be average in life? Think beyond the immediate. What opportunities are you missing? What potential are you squandering? What will your life look like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years' time if you don't make a change? Consider the emotional cost too, the nagging feeling of dissatisfaction, the regret that builds over time. Complacency isn't just about staying still, it's about falling behind. The biggest risk in life is not taking any risk in the first place. Write down 3 specific things that you're currently losing by staying where you are. This will serve as a constant reminder of the urgency for change in your life. Number 3, is your daily routine getting you any closer to your dreams, or is it just keeping you stuck in quicksand? Now your routine, it'll either propel you forward or hold you hostage. If your habits consist of scrolling social media for hours and hours before lunchtime and then making excuses about not having enough time in life to do things, then guess what? You've already chosen a life of stagnation. You need to analyze your day. How much time do you actually spend on activities that actively help you get closer to your goal? How much time is wasted on distraction and procrastination? Your routine is the foundation of your success. If it's weak, then your progress will be too. Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. Identify one habit that's holding you back and then create a plan to replace it with a much more productive one. Start small. If you spend hours every single day on your phone, try cutting back by 30 minutes a day. And then each day, use that time that you've freed up for something more meaningful in your life, such as learning a new skill, reading a book, going outside and getting some fresh air. Number 4, what are you avoiding now in your life because you're scared to fail? The truth is, your life probably won't implode if you give it your best shot and still fail. But if you keep avoiding that big move or risky decision, then you are slowly suffocating your potential. Fear of failure is a universal human experience, but it shouldn't dictate your life. What's the worst that could happen if you tried and failed? Often the imagined consequences are far worse than the reality anyway. You must embrace the possibility of failure as a learning opportunity in your life. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the stepping stone that gets you towards success. Every misstep is just another opportunity for your next leap forward. Identify one thing that you are avoiding because of the fear of failure, and then break it down into small, manageable steps. Focus on progress, not perfection. Number 5, if your time was limited to just 6 months, what would instantly become unimportant in your life? Picture the clock winding down, 6 months left to live. Are you really going to care about petty arguments, meaningless drama, and what strangers really think about you? This thought experiment cuts through the bullshit and forces you to think about what's real in life and what truly matters. Once you've identified that trivial noise, just eliminate it out of your life for good. This is a powerful exercise in prioritizing. It forces you to accept your mortality, or more likely to face your mortality head on, and then decide in life what truly matters to you. Suddenly the small stuff fades away and you're left with what truly matters in your life: your loved ones, your passions, and your legacy. Mark Twain is quoted as saying, "The two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why." Identify one thing you're currently spending time on that you would get rid of from your life if you had 6 months left to live. If so, and if you've done that, get rid of it. Number 6, what would you be if you weren't afraid of others' opinions? Most people live their entire lives chained by the fear of judgment, never realizing how small that actually makes them. If you stopped caring about what the crowd thinks, you'd finally be free to explore your true potential. That version of you, the bold, unrestrained version, is just waiting permission from yourself to start living more free, more authentically, without constantly worrying about what others think. What would you wear? What would you do? What would you say? This exercise can help you uncover the true you, the person that you are hiding behind a mask of conformity. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Do one thing today that you would normally avoid because you are worried about what others think. It could be something small like wearing a loud outfit or giving an unpopular opinion at a party. Number 7, what's one thing you've been avoiding that, if done, would completely change the course of your life? Now this is the big one, that one thing that you know you should do, but you're too scared to face. It might be a difficult conversation, a risky business venture, or a major life change. But it's also the key to unlocking your potential. And you know exactly what it is. It's that glaring task, conversation, or decision that you keep dodging because it feels too big or too risky. But behind that discomfort is the gateway to a massive breakthrough. So rip off the band-aid and lean into fear. You will thank yourself for it later. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Make a concrete plan to tackle this thing you've been avoiding. Then break it down into smaller steps and put a plan in place for each step. Number 8, if you stripped away every single excuse, what would you be capable of achieving right now? Imagine you had no excuse. No, I'm too busy, I'm too tired, I just don't have the time. Suddenly, you'd be compelled to acknowledge the extent of your power. Excuses are the crutches of the unmotivated. They allow you to avoid taking responsibility for your life. Imagine a world where you had no excuses. What would you do? What would you become? Because the only thing standing between you and your dream is the will to try and the belief that it is actually possible. Identify one excuse you normally use and challenge it. How can you overcome this obstacle? What resources do you have at your disposal that will help you overcome this challenge? Number 9, what parts of your current life would your future self wish you'd let go of sooner? Imagine your future self reflecting on your current self. What unhealthy habits, relationships, or thought processes would they implore you to abandon immediately? Every moment you hold on to doesn't serve you. You hinder the life you aspire to. Release any obstacles that hinder your progress. Imagine yourself 10, 20, or even 30 years from now, looking back at your younger self right now. What regrets do you think you might have? What toxic relationships, negative thought patterns, or self-destructive habits do you wish you'd got rid of sooner? Letting go doesn't mean giving up, but rather accepting that there are things that cannot be. Identify one thing you need to let go of today. It could be a toxic relationship or a limiting belief or a bad habit. What life would you need to live to be fulfilled? Now, this is the ultimate question. What does a truly fulfilling life look like for you? What are your values? What are your passions? What impact do you want to make on this world? If you were to pass away tomorrow, would you be content with the way you've lived your life here on earth? Regret is a harsh teacher, and it's better to learn from it now rather than years down the line on your deathbed. Identify the life that would bring you a sense of fulfillment and determination, and then fight relentlessly to achieve it. By doing so, you can make sure that you will leave this world with no lingering what ifs in the back of your mind. The purpose of life is not to be happy, it's to be useful, to be honourable, to be compassionate, to have made some difference, that you have lived and lived well. A quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson there, but one that's so true. So I urge you, write down your vision for a fulfilling life. Be specific. What do you want to achieve? Who do you want to be? Then create a plan to start moving towards that vision, one step at a time. So there you have it, 10 uncomfortable questions that could change the rest of your life. The truth is, change doesn't come from comfort. It comes from asking the hard questions, facing the hard truths, the tough realities, and then deciding to do something about them. So which of these questions hit you the hardest? Let me know in the comments, because I'd really love to know your thoughts on this. And if you found this video insightful, consider subscribing for more videos about living life with purpose. Remember, your future is made by the choices that you make today. Make them count. If you've watched this, I suggest you now watch this video, the 7 powerful truths you need to hear. No BS, just real practical advice.